Hello, I'm Matthew Christ from Gambling.com and welcome to the panel. Joining us this season is Manchester United and Celtic legend Brian McClair. Are you well, Brian?
Very well, Matthew. And how are you?
I'm great, thanks. And isn't it good to have football back after what seems like an eternity? The Premier League season gets underway this weekend. And Brian will be here with us every week to preview every Premier League game with his score predictions. So without wasting any more time, let's look at each game for match day one, which starts this weekend with your old club, Manchester United, hosting Fulham on Friday night at Old Trafford. How do you see this one going, Brian?
Well, it's the eighth time that Manchester United have opened up their Premier League campaign with a home game. In the past, they've always been almost invincible in the very first game of the Premier League season, although they have managed to lose a couple of games out of those last eight, which were very much surprises to very many people. I can't see Manchester United losing this game. Indeed, I think they'll win. Even though they've signed a couple of defenders, I still think they'll be vulnerable at the back. We have potentially another new defence or a new back four for Anana to deal with. And I think that Manchester United, however, will win this fixture by 3 goals to 1.
Okay, I mean, we can't talk about United without discussing the obvious. This season, Eric Ten Hag is there. He probably felt he wasn't going to be there until the cup final last season. What do you think? What do you see United doing this season with Ten Hag at the helm still?
Well, I think that you've got to be saying that him and the team were very much hampered by injuries, short and particularly long term. Hopefully, all of those players, will be fit enough, particularly the defenders, in order to give them a platform to win games. The biggest problem Manchester United had was two parts: losing goals by not defending well enough, three things: not winning enough games at home and not scoring enough goals. The scoring goals part can still be a bit of a problem.
Okay, and talking of players and injuries, that United brought in a number of new faces this summer. Do you see them bedding in well? Are they the kind of players that you think United need?
Yeah, I think any players that are fit are the kind of players that United need.
Fair enough. Let's move on. Saturday then, the first game, 12:30, Ipswich v Liverpool. Ipswich back in the Premier League. How do you see this one?
Well, I'm looking at this one really as a cup tie, and I'm expecting Ipswich to perform well enough to get a result in this game. Although in the Premier League history, Liverpool don't lose opening fixtures either at home or away. I'm not saying they're going to lose this fixture, but I've got a kind of nagging feeling that it's going to be a tricky one. As I said before, very much like a cup tie. Ipswich are full of players who very recently were performing very well in League One. So it'll be full of excitement, I think, for all those players and ambition to do well in this particular fixture against Liverpool. And I can see this being a very exciting game for the spectators but I think the game will end up as a 2-2 draw.
Okay, 2-2. Let's push on with some score predictions then. So Arsenal, who finished runners-up again last season, they entertain Wolves on Saturday. Can you give us a score prediction for this one?
I think that Arsenal will beat a Wolves team that have struggled for form at the back end of the season. And I think that their supporters' optimism is very high, but I don't see it. So I think Arsenal will win the game 2-0.
2-0 Arsenal. And Everton Brighton, Saturday, 3 o'clock.
I'm going to go for a high-scoring game, 3-2 for Everton.
3-2 Everton. And then up to Newcastle, Saturday. They got Southampton at home.
You can see a difficult start for Southampton at Newcastle, and I'm going to go for 4-0 Newcastle.
4-0 Newcastle. Nottingham Forest struggled a bit last season. They opened their campaign at home to Bournemouth. What do you see here?
Again, a team that seems to do well in their opening fixture. Home game for Forest against Bournemouth, a team that have done very well in recent times. I'm going to go for a close game. I think that Forest will just pip this one by 2 goals to 1.
And the Saturday tea time game is West Ham versus Aston Villa. What are your thoughts?
Well, West Ham, new manager, potentially a new style of play that the supporters have demanded. I think they'll see an exciting game and probably will see a new style of play, but they'll end up in a 3-1 defeat.
And Let's go on to Sunday's game. First one is Brentford Crystal Palace, at London Derby.
Brentford 2, Crystal Palace 0.
Okay, and of course, the big one this weekend is the Sunday R4, Chelsea versus the champions Manchester City.
Well, everybody will be very keen to see which of the 11 of the several dozen players that Chelsea have on their books now get the opportunity to perform against last season's champions. City have got some players who are just coming back after European performances, so they'll be like getting to play their first game together. I know they know each other very, very well. And with that in mind, I think that Chelsea will score. However, I see City winning this game by 3-1.
And finally, this weekend it wraps up on Monday night with Leicester City back in the Premier League hosting Tottenham. What do you think here, Brian?
Oh, it's a great fixture for Monday night football. Leicester newly promoted against Spurs, managed by Hans Postecoglou, who I've got great admiration for in the way that he sets up his teams and the way that his teams play, and how he wants to win all the time by playing some incredible attacking football. And I think there'll be far too much for this newly promoted Leicester. And I think it'll be Leicester 0, Tottenham 2.
Okay, well, thanks for those predictions, Brian. We wait eagerly to see how you get on. And don't forget, Brian will be here every week this Premier League season with the panel, giving his Premier League picks. So we'll see you again next week.